welcome back YouTube. Gonna do a pull day today. I don't know if I've actually gone through this session, so obviously when we first started off season, which was, well, to be precise, it was like the 25th of September, just after the Arnolds, obviously ran a program all that time, which was around 35 weeks, I believe. Some movements we'd adjusted when we got some new equipment that was obviously quite fun to use, but I actually found that a few of my movements had started to break down a little bit, so we just reshuffled pretty much equipment, not really the movements, the setup or anything like that, but just different equipment, exactly the same bias, exactly the same like for like movement, but just a little bit of a different change, because when you are performance based, someone that obviously cares about the fact that they want to get better in the gym, they want to get stronger, it's really fucking frustrating when it doesn't happen. And as much as you can stay patient and you can reset and whatnot, sometimes there does come a time when you do have to move things because they've just hit a bit of a brick wall. So that's what we've done with kind of push and pull sessions. Legs haven't really changed other than the actual order, because obviously we need more glutes, so there's more glute work. Got no ass. So yeah, that's pretty much what's happened. So I'm going to take you through my session. I'm actually currently into a diet phase. I am 4 or 5 weeks into a diet phase, and I am 6 kilograms down, so very happy with that so far. Probably will pull down another 5 kilograms. The look at the end probably will be pretty shit. Not shit to the point where it's terrible, but not very good because I'm not on any androgens. I don't really like to use androgens in an off season unless in a real push phase, because what's the fucking point in using them in a diet phase in an off season when you're basically just maintaining, it's not about growing. And in an off season, to actually get better for the next time you step on stage, the time in which you want to use them is when you are in a growing phase. Because I am in a growing phase for a year, I can't be in a growing phase 52 weeks being in a surplus, because unfortunately I'd be extremely out of shape going into a competition prep, and then that would mean that my competition prep would be a little bit terrible, because you start so out of shape that then you're trying to get lean instead of trying to maintain your muscle and drop fat. So obviously what we do is do a nice little diet phase throughout the off season, get yourself nice and reset, and then ready to push back on. I will try and hold condition a little bit more towards the next phase of the off season, because obviously I am going to be very close to starting prep. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am, and we're going to go and train pull, and I'll go through all of my movements because we know that you like that. If it's boring, I'm sorry, but you can get over it or not watch it. So the reason we do ab work prior to our session is literally just to help us engage with our core, so that obviously when it comes time to work on your working sets, you're ready to get to work. When I was diving, we did a similar thing. If we couldn't control our midsections because we needed to brace to be able to go into the water, exactly the same as every time you do any movement, you need to be able to brace. You need to be able to utilize your core. Things like this, doing TBA work, any kind of core work, vacuums even, can really help you with that core control, so that you know exactly how to use it and when you need to use it as well. First exercise, lat focus pull down. Nobody likes a lat pull down because they talk about the slow pull downs. If you didn't do a lat pull down on a cable, where are you going to do it? Where? Because a normal lat pull down setup is a cable. I'm pretty certain that we all seen Arnold Schwarzenegger, any person, do a lat pull down on a cable, so get over yourself. If you want to do a lat pull down, you're going to have to do it on a cable or on a machine, because that's just how you do it, isn't it? So really nice. Wonderful. I actually get asked quite frequently, where do I place my pull for my hinge? Because obviously I have a hinge in my sessions. I do equate that to a lot of my back density. I do think that a lot of my back thickness with my erectors and the thickness that I've been able to create is from obviously getting better and heavier when it comes to my pulls. But I don't actually do it on pull day. That's actually specifically for my isolations, and I also add some glute top up work in that as well. So it is almost a pull slash glutes ham session, but without a pull. Personally, I found that I've made more progress that way. I couldn't explain to you why in terms of science, but that's just how it works. I've also done it in the previous way with doing a hinge on a pull day and then obviously legs on a leg day, so kind of a squat or a leg press pattern on a leg day. But I found that this works a lot better for me and my own progress, but whatever works for you doesn't mean that it's not gonna, if that works for me doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. So just make sure that you're doing something that obviously is beneficial to you and your progress and for you and your enjoyment as well. I think the type of people that old school bodybuilders get irritated with the lat pull down are the ones that are doing it a little bit too slow on their concentric and that have no weight on the machine. For any movement to work for you to obviously get more muscle, you are going to have to get stronger. You don't need to be super slow where it's slow motion. You need to be in control, but you need to still have aggression. When you do drive that elbow down, you'll be able to see that when I do my set. And you do need to make sure that you are building up the strength with it. It's like on here, I have 60 kilos on it. It's not as if I'm doing a 20 kilo plate. So make sure that you're getting strong with it and then you'll actually build some muscle. I was doing this movement before in my previous session to begin with, but it was on my other pull day. So basically, we've just swapped my 2 pull downs that started at one session to start at the other session. So, because they're great movements, I feel really great. We've tried other variations, but they don't really feel as good for me. So that's why I've got them, but just switched them in different sessions. A lat pull down, pretty much whatever setup you use, exactly the same. I like to personally keep a slight little rotation towards my working side. It just allows you to be able to have room for your elbow to come through without needing to then rotate and turn, which can actually then take away tension from your lat. So you're just there already, lock your core nice and tight and literally just get to work with your elbow. I don't have the best back, but my back is a lot better than it used to be. And I definitely put that down to understanding the difference between training my lats and training my mid-back / upper back. I think if you struggle with being able to develop in those areas, learning the difference and learning them well and then getting strong with them could really help you as well. Like, I definitely don't have the best back, but it's definitely better, and that's why. Second exercise is the extreme row, lat row. I don't sit on it because if I sit on it, the handle's a little bit too wide for me to be able to get my lat, which is why I am stood up. You can just ground yourself a little bit better when you're stood up as well. It almost feels a little bit like a dumbbell row, but just a little bit smoother and a little bit nicer. So that's why I use it. I like it, it's good, it's a very heavy machine, it's very humbling. So hopefully one day I'll be strong like Kuba, but not right now. So, back on my favourite row. I've been very upset the last 2 sessions because every time I've filmed it, people stood in front of the camera. Doesn't matter. So hopefully we'll get it on camera today. This is my favourite row for lats and upper back. It's really hard. I mean, I know that the new prime machines aren't made with these handles, but they're so nice because they move. So you've got freedom with your shoulders and you've got freedom with your wrists that make you not have any elbow pain. But yeah, it's my favourite machine. I did a weight. We'll talk about it until after the set. And I put in my logbook that I needed to go a bit heavier because I'd got above the rep range. So I've got a little bit heavier. Hopefully I'll hit the rep range. Fingers crossed.
Keep this up, up. Keep this up, up. Open and close, come on, fully open and fully close. One second. Right. Again.
Guess what, guys? Don't think it got filmed again. Appreciative of the help. I'm going to do a back off set. So, if you're on your working set and the previous session, this is obviously if you train with progressive overload and you hit rep ranges, trying to obviously increase strength, reps, etc. When I kind of get to the top of my rep range or maybe go over slightly, that's when I know it's time to take a progression with weight as long as it feels good that next session. If the next session I take a progression and I don't quite hit my rep range, as long as my form is bang on, I don't regress my weight the next time, I just try to build up on those reps. And eventually over time, you'll be able to hit that top rep range again with the new weight. This is a demonstration of how to do an upper back row. Third time.
Pause and drop, that's it. Make it hurt, come on. Outside. Yes. Okay. One. Pressure down. One more rep. One more rep. All the way through, yes. Perfect.
Fourth exercise is the upper back pull down. On this movement, pretty much exactly the same as what I've been saying for the past 3 years. Chest nice and tall, still having a nice locked core, so not floppy in your lower back and not losing tension with your tummy. Making sure that you fully protract your shoulders when you straighten your arms and fully retract as you drive those elbows through. just telling Alex, I think I can feel an ab, not being able to feel them since December of last year. So that's a positive sign. Got terrible abs as well, so that's good. when it comes to being in a diet phase, there's the debate of, oh, I'm going to get weak because I'm in a diet phase. And I feel like I can speak about it because obviously I do a prep with anabolics. I also do diet phases without assistance. A lot of the time it does come towards your mindset, the way that you approach training, the way that you think about your training, the kind of positive energy, positive thoughts does translate to what you see in the gym, whether you're in an off season or in a prep. In a prep, are you going to see a fall with some exercises, with the exercises that are at the end of your session? Yeah, for sure you are. Are you going to find that exercises fall down and then start to pick back up once you get used to the fact that you are a little bit lighter? Yeah, definitely. But you can't go in with that negative energy about the fact that, oh, I'm in a diet phase now, I'm going to get weaker, because that's one true way to literally lose muscle mass like that. You have to try and fight for it. Not to the point where obviously your form's becoming terrible to the point where it doesn't look like that exercise anymore, but you have to really fight for it mentally and physically. And honestly, it does not matter whether you are assisted or natural. You may see some regressions, especially in a push setting, so shoulder work, chest work, etc., because you all have little joints, most of us have little joints. When we lose weight, obviously we don't have that support there as much. But it shouldn't fall that much to the point where it's awful. And eventually you should get used to the fact, like I say, that you are lighter, and things should start to progress back up again. So you need to start thinking about it in a more positive sense. You need to start thinking about the fact that you're not going to get weaker. You're getting fitter. You're not quite as heavy anymore. You should be able to put more effort into your sets because you are lighter. So think about it in that sense rather than thinking about the fact that you are going to get less strong, because you will lose muscle, and that's how you'll do it. See, my reps weren't meant to be that slow, but it was quite heavy, so unfortunately they were that slow. So funny. Oh, come on, you bastard. So, a bit opposite to what most of the people do. I always start when I'm doing unilateral work on my less strong side, go with that, and then I tend to find that my stronger side then pretty much fails pretty much around the same as what my weaker sides just failed at. So that's the way in which I try to keep my reps on both sides pretty similar, but I always go to failure, and it makes no difference to being lopsided or having more muscle mass in the other side or whatnot. That's what unilateral work's there for, to get better and to make things comparable in strength. And I said comparable, so wrong, but it's comparable. So second to last exercise is a rear delt fly. Nothing adventurous here, but basically just make sure that you use full range of motion. Make sure your hands come all the way to in line with your face before you then drive them out to pretty much be in line with your shoulders. If you drive them too far past, you're not using your rear delt anymore. So just make sure that you stay within your active range of motion and don't go too far, and keep it nice and controlled too. because I'm a figure competitor, I don't really have an arm day, so I don't need massive arms. I do have some bicep work towards the end of my pull session, because obviously I need a form of a bicep. If you go for the bikini class, obviously the more slender your arm is, the better really, because you don't need a huge delt, but you need to have a delt. If you have a more streamlined arm, the less need it is for the delt to be absolutely massive. If you move into figure, you need a little bit more arm, meaning that you need quite a bit more delt for you to have that kind of capped 3D look upstairs. You don't want to start adding lots and lots and lots of tissue into your biceps, because then you'll feel the need, or you would have the need, to get even bigger delts to make it look like obviously you have more delts than arms on your front shot. And then if you're starting to go down that path and you go too far with your arms, which then means that you need more delt, you move more into the women's physique kind of category range. So always make sure that your training reflects your class and that your muscle mass also reflects your class. That is the end of my video. That's my whole session. I usually have some glutes, but I actually trained hamstrings yesterday, so that's why I'm not doing it today, because I've got rest tomorrow and then I've got legs again, so I don't want to do 3 sessions in a row of leg work. But usually I have 2 sets of hip thrusts after that, but I did hip thrusts yesterday, so probably be a silly idea to do them today. But yeah, that is the end of my session. Hope that you enjoyed it. Hopefully there was some useful things in there to take away. I know that it's always much of the same when it comes to training, but try to keep it a little bit fresh and come up with some new ideas along the way. If there's anything anyone ever wants me to do from a female bodybuilding perspective from a video, please always comment below, because I'm always open to ideas. Always happy to speak openly about anything and everything. But yeah, please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll be back again soon.